Your neighborhood Chevron gas station invites you to... Let's
Shawn
do it. Brought to you by the makers of climate-tailored Chevron Supreme gasoline and RPM compounded motor oil.
You asked interrogative questions out of my face. It's gone.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on.
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now, Albert?
Hey, folks, it's your old pal. Wait a second. No, that's Mike's intro, Joe and Oneita. I think I'm already messing up as the first-time host here, and 5 seconds in, and it's already bumping. No, it's not. All kidding aside, welcome to the Soul of Detroit, the normal host, Mr. M.L. Elrick. Well,
the usual.
Now, there's a copy editor for you.
There's a copy editor for you.
Good call, Oneita. Before we get to Oneita real quickly, Mike is out on the campaign trail.
Yes, he is.
Sorry, I don't ever want to put you last again like that. He's out on the campaign trail. He's running for what? Governor? No. City council?
City council district. Is it 4 or 2?
It's 4. Maybe it's 24, 42. Look, behind the scenes, normally, Mr. Joe Zoovers, that's with a V, not with a B,
V-E-R,
is front and center today on the big board, the big board. I don't know if he's going to say a word.
Go, Joe.
We have a goal, though, to get him to say at least one word, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Could you say something?
How are you guys doing?
Oh,
Good to be here.
We're live election day.
That sounds so enthusiastic. So Joe's going to run things, keep us on track here today. And then, of course, the one and only.
The only.
The only. Oneita Jackson, former colleague of mine, because, of course, it's all about me. I'm trying to channel Mike Elrick
That's
right now.
right. Free press.
We worked together at Free Press. She was one of the best copy editors I've ever known. Used to rip my copy up and make it a whole lot better. She's since she left the Free Press, she's become an author, right?
Yes,
Written
sir.
2 books.
I wrote 2 books. Yes.
We can get to those books in a second.
Yes,
You
sir.
drove a cab.
I drove a cab 3
But
years.
right now.
But right now.
What you doing right now? You go ahead and say it.
I am an at-large candidate for Detroit City Council. You have to write my name in. I did not make the ballot because I started late and I was running my mouth too much. But I am an official at-large write-in candidate. So you just fill in the circle and write my name in. Oneita Jackson. Yes, that's
So-
right. I already voted, so I'm free. I'm free to party.
You've already voted.
I've already voted.
I want to real quickly before I want to talk to you about how this started, what made you, with the reasoning behind this. But real quickly, we are gonna. Our guest today, by the way, well, no, Anita's the main guest, but you're more of a co-host. Or I'll just screw it. You're the
I'm
host.
a guest.
You're the host.
I'm a guest.
You're a guest host. How
I'm
about
the
that?
guest.
We're gonna talk to Mike. We're gonna call him and
Tell him, Mike, if you're listening, you need to call us so we can see what's going on.
well, we can call him. He's not too good with phones, so we'll call him here shortly and check in with him. But first of all, what made you decide to want to run for city council and the way you're running with the write-in campaign? Talk to us about that a little bit.
I decided, well, I had no intentions of running. I had a WDET interview with Pat Batchelor, and he asked me this thing. Like, I had no intention of running. What happened was I was sitting on the bus thinking about all these times that I had complained to DDOT the proper way, dial the number 933-1300. And no one has ever acknowledged one of my complaints. And this is years worth of complaints.
What kind of complaints? Like
Okay, a filthy bus, right? A filthy bus, buses that did not come on time, drivers that were rude, buses that didn't even come at all, raggedy buses, just poor service in general. And it's disrespectful to the citizens. You can tell a lot about what a city feels about its residents by its public transportation. And I just happened to be, I was on the bus and I'm like, I'm sick of this. Now, here's the thing. When I quit the Free Press, because I worked there, 11 years. I moved here from DC to be a copy editor, right? So I used to sometimes ride the bus at the Free Press. I did have a car, but I've complained through, if we count, what was his name? Monica Conyers called him Shrek. What was his name?
Elrick would know.
No, Cockrell. If we count Ken Cockrell, I think 5 mayors. So there was Kwame Kilpatrick, Ken Cockrell, Dave Bing, who else? what's the
Archer.
Mike Duggan now, and I guess I wasn't riding the bus with Mayor Archer
And
because
by
I
the-
had just gotten here.
And by the way, real quickly, this was anywhere in the city? It wasn't one particular route or neighborhood. It didn't matter where you were getting
So I
on.
lived in West Village for
Okay.
17 years.
Okay.
So usually the Jefferson bus or Lafayette bus, those two bus routes. But sometimes up and down anywhere. Like I've all over the city, except I don't ride buses in Southwest. But I'll tell you this. So when I quit the paper in 2012, I had been considering running for city council. Never told anyone but a couple people. So I called Mayor Archer and I was talking to him about it. And at this point, a few years ago, I just wanted to elevate my issue, which is public transportation, because in real cities it works well, right? And at that point, he wanted to know, and another friend of mine, Alberta Tinsley Talabi, they were telling me it would be good, but why am I running? And I'm like, well, I just want to raise the consciousness of people. Mayor Archer said, if you don't plan on serving, don't run. And I said, oh, well, I guess I'm not running. So this year, when I'm on the bus, it was an epiphany. It was late, but I knew I could do it and put my heart and my soul and run the campaign that I want. And I did it. I was on the bus. I went straight to the Board of Elections on the boulevard, and I got the petition, signed the papers, but I didn't get enough. So then you write what is called a letter of intent. You don't write a letter of intent, you sign one. And that's how you can get on you can become an at-large candidate. So that's what I did. And the difference is if I get in, I will serve. So I'm 52, so that's 4 years. So I'll still be relatively young if I were to get in. So I'm happy. And I do have a campaign manager. Might not seem like it, but I do. And that's the only thing I'm talking about. Because I'm going to let you go. But yeah, when you start talking about the things that affect the least of these, the little people, then lots of other issues come into play. I mean,
Well, because you make the details of somebody's day, right? If you can improve those a little bit, there's a domino effect, right? It's exponential in a way. Can I use that, Mrs. Copy Editor?
yes,
Okay.
Mr. Reporter,
Okay.
award-winning reporter.
Well,
Yes,
no,
you
I don't know
can.
about award. You're confusing me with Mr. Elrick. By the way, before we go any forward, but this is a terrible segue. I don't want to go from buses to cars necessarily, but if you're going to get a car, here's a good place to get a car, right, Joe? What do you think? How about
That was decent.
that's not too bad. How about Roy O'Brien?
Is that Ford?
It's a Ford dealership over on the east side of Detroit. If you're looking for a new ride, service, repairs, or even just a top-notch oil change, Roy O'Brien Ford is the place to go. My mom bought a Ford Focus wagon there. Of course, that's not my mom. That would be Mr. Elrick's mom. It's fire engine red because my mom is pretty groovy. Well, my mom was pretty groovy too. And 108,000 miles later, she's still a satisfied customer. And she's not alone. Roy O'Brien has been taking care of customers for nearly 75 years from the corner of 9 Mile and Mac. If you don't quite feel like taking the right track to 9 Mile and Mac, as they say, go to royobrien.com and check out Fast Track, which lets you choose your vehicle and options. But that's not all. You can pick your deal, lease, finance, or cash, get the value of your trade-in, apply for financing, and schedule delivery of your ride. If you go in person, Roy O'Brien Ford is serious about protecting you and their employees. I've been to the dealership. Again, that's Mike, although I think I've been to the dealership too. I recently did the show from the front seat of an F-150, and I can tell you they were taking every measure to protect your health while you explore your options. To learn more, visit royobrien.com or call 888-566-5851, and be sure to tell them ML's son sent you. Was that all right?
That's great.
I don't know.
You have a nice radio voice.
Well, thank you. I don't. I'm not much of a
just thank
a
you. That's
pitch
all you
man.
say. Is
I'm not much of a
thank
pitch
you.
man.
Just thank you.
And it always gets a little dicey too with as a journalist, right at the Free Press. But those lines are blurring, as you well know, Anita. Right? I mean, yeah, all you have to do is look at our front page sometimes, and sometimes you can't tell what's been written by somebody who's employed there, right? And what's been written by and what's copy ad, right?
What happened to the copy editors? Don't get me started. Come on with the next. What are we talking about?
Oh, you can talk about that all you want. So anyway, tell real quickly before we call Mike, how have you campaigned? What's it been like to be out there?
I'm waving to my friends.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so I've been, I used to write about myself. Just so if people do not know, I wrote the award-winning O Street column. O Street. For 3 years, it began as a blog and became a Sunday opinion column
I remember it well.
for which I won copy editor. Excuse me, what was it? Columnist of the year for my colleagues. I feel so bad. I didn't even go to the award ceremony.
Oh, that's okay.
upstairs.
That's
So
okay. It's
people
nice to
were
get a little love
Oneita,
like
you
that, though.
won. I'm like, oh wow, I felt bad.
So have you been? You've been campaigning for how long?
I don't know, just a few months.
Just a few months.
Just a few months.
And
What
what kind of reception were you getting out there?
I've been amazed by the reception at the grocery store, at Walmart. Like, I didn't do door knocking because I'm unconventional, obviously, but I sent text messages. Most of my campaigning has been social media and in person. When I'm on the bus, when I'm walking down the street, because I don't own a car anymore. So I get around. Like, people were saying, you need to be in the streets. It's like, are you kidding? I am the streets. So at the grocery store, on the bus, walking down the street. When I left the voting this morning, I ran into a toothless man in a truck, and he said he wasn't voting for anyone. I said, go right now and go vote for me, and he said he would. So the reception from people who, like, so here's the thing. I'm not a homeowner, right? I am a renter, and I don't own a car. Most of the people voting for me are people who own homes and they have cars. And so they're considerably well off, but they're still voting for me because I'm talking about issues no one really seems to care about. And when I run into Mayor Duggan, I just ran into him at the Detroit Regional Chamber Policy Conference. Oh my goodness. He scrammed so hard, right? Mayor Archer had beckoned for me. Yeah, he did. Mayor Archer had beckoned for me to come sit next to him, because I was there and it was time for Mayor Duggan to speak. And I said, I'm going to go be right front and center. So it's at the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater. And, they have like those three sections.
Right.
So I was scooting all the way down. I was on the second row, and then I was going to sit directly in front of him. Mayor Archer is sitting over there to the right, and he did like this. So I went and sat next to him. When Mayor Archer, I call him head jive turkey in charge, because he talks a great deal of jive. And he even
That's an old school word.
Hey, I was born in the 60s, right? So he came off the stage to greet Mayor Archer, and guess who pops up? I said, hi, I ride buses. And he's like, well, I ride the buses too. So then there's Alexis Wiley over there, his
Right.
former chief of staff, now campaign manager. And he said, well, I said, well, you should ride the buses with me. And he's like, well, I like the buses. I ride the buses. And I don't believe he rides buses, because I think if Mayor Duggan rode the buses, we would have heard about it. Like, come on, right? And then he just scrammed right out of there. So, I'll call Alexis Wiley at some point. But there are people who are afraid to ride the buses. I'm not afraid. Like, those incidents where there's something extreme happening. I've been riding the buses consistently now for about 10, 11, 12 years outside of my cab driving. There are not that many times that there is an incident. Most usual occurrences are when people are playing their music too loudly.
Right, or somebody just starts yelling.
Yeah, yeah. But besides that, as I said, I have so many pictures of just, like, I want people to know it's not okay when coach operators are trying to transport us safely from one place to another in the conditions that they have to work in. Like, they have these buses that don't even, the drivers don't even control the temperature, right? But there are just so many times that, look, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you my.
And this is how I don't think this needs to be said, but I'm still going to say this is how people get to work.
Right.
Right.
This is how people get to work. And then there are times when there's a gentleman running for city council right now. His name is Darryl Brown, I think. And he's a city commissioner. He saw me at the bus stop in the wintertime. He saw the bus roll right past me. And he was so nice. He said, ma'am, I own this building right here and I live in this area. And I saw that bus drive right past you. I can give you a ride. But I had already called a cab. So you remember I drove a cab for 3 years after I quit. And I came here to the studio in a cab.
Well, how about we call somebody that I think is also probably fighting to improve the bus situation, right? And I don't know how front and center's been with this campaign, but we know
will find out.
Let's
call him.
Let's
so
call
I can
Mr.
ask
Elrick.
him when's the last time he's been on the bus, and it wasn't a ploy. Yeah, call him.
We'll see if we have the technology to do that.
Okay.
On him up right now.
We'll see. Yeah.
Right, and while you're doing it, I'm going to look for my DDOT complaints, because you can just scroll. I have all these numbers.
Oh, the phone is ringing. This is
Hello?
exciting.
ML, what's up?
Is this Councilwoman Jackson?
I've been hijacked, by the way.
This is Oneita Jackson. I am running as an at-large candidate, a write-in candidate for Detroit City Council. Tell us where you are, candidate.
And what's
ML
going on,
Elrick.
dude?
Yeah, what's going on? Where you at?
I'm on the phone talking to Sean and Oneita. Pretty
Where
exciting stuff.
You're a little subdued, man. Come
are
on, what is it?
subdued.
You're just.
Are you overwhelmed?
It's not a big enough stage for you. Is that it? We're not worthy. Unless you're in the studio.
I'm just awed to be in the presence of OJ and Ron Goldman.
I thought you were going to say SW. Come on.
Who is
man.
Ron Goldman?
Come on, man. What? I know you probably haven't. What is it? Some porn
The most
star?
unfortunate delivery boy ever.
ML, you are corny. Tell us really what's going on the campaign trail because you're cutting into my time. I have 35 minutes.
Okay, so we are at a temporary lull. We are about to refuel up at Flames Pizzeria on East Warren, just off of Outer Drive. A great place to get some good sustenance.
I need you to have some more energy.
This morning.
He's
you sound drab,
You
man.
don't sound like yourself, man.
You don't sound like you
have
better
you not
get
slept?
it on.
You probably haven't slept, have you?
No, I got some sleep. We kind of started at around 6 or 6:30 with people coming to the house.
Do you have a little cold? You have a little cold? Did the blankie come off last night? And you got a little chilly?
Yeah, I don't wish to speak about my sleeping arrangements. I'm a gentleman, so it's and that's gotten other politicians in trouble.
Hey, look here. Tell me when's the last time you've been on a bus because you know my platform is DDOT, improving public transportation, and speaking about the issues that it seems the leadership of the city, they don't care about these issues. It appears that way because they put these raggedy buses out. So when's the last time you've been on a bus, ML?
It was before the pandemic.
For real?
Yep.
Okay, so you and I are going to ride the bus because I don't believe you.
Oh, well, I'll ride the bus with you whether you believe me or not.
Okay, this is a good answer. This is a very good answer. I said I was going to give you all good and plenty hell like in the newsroom.
So we've been going all over. We've been hitting polling places and meeting voters. And
who is we?
Me and members of the ML4 Detroit Justice Team.
ML4 Detroit Justice Team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also known as your campaign?
Yeah, your campaign.
We have a committed group of volunteers who have agreed, taken a solemn oath to bring honest change to Detroit politics. We're working on matching tattoos, but for right now,
okay, now he sounds like himself.
We're just going through signet rings, but I don't know if we have that in the budget.
How are you feeling?
You know, I'm somewhat frugal.
How are you? No, you're not. How are you feeling in your gut, man? I mean, how are your nerves right now? What's your soul feeling like?
We've done everything we can to win. We've touched more than 1,000 or 10,000 voters through door knocking. I think I've knocked on 12 or 1,500 doors myself. We've sent out, so we probably hit 6,000 or 7,000 doors since January. We've sent out 2,000 handwritten postcards. We've sent out 5,400 absentee voter mailers. We have sent out legions of text messages, talked to maybe thousands of people with phone banking. I think we've made 4,000 phone calls and connected with 2,000 people. I mean, we have connected with everybody. And
have
all
you
we're
connected
with
the bus riders, the people who ride the bus, like me? For whom public
I didn't
transportation?
Step on your toes.
Dude, I have corns on my toes. It's okay. Step on them. You know me. I don't want to be running for office. So anyone who will take on my issue, I'm all about it. So.
Oh yeah, no, we're talking about transportation. We're talking about trying to get bus shelters. We're trying to get things like monitors, so you can tell if the bus doesn't come very often, then you shouldn't be waiting for 4 hours. If it's only going to be one bus every 2 hours, why should you wait an hour and 59 minutes for it to show up? So we want to help make it easier for people to get around. But one of the main things that I'm talking about is trying to get our neighborhoods to a place where you can do everything you need to do within walking distance of your home, mainly because the bus system just isn't adequate to meet the needs of people who need to go from point A to point B.
But don't you need to make
their money and to take care of their family?
Shouldn't you be fighting to make it better? That's my whole platform. So.
Oh, I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you better because listen. I'm all over all y'all. Okay. Like tomorrow, my gloves are coming off, and then watch this Facebook picture I post tomorrow. My gloves are coming off, and I'm going to be smacking all of you people who are going to
What do you
advance.
mean by you people?
Yeah, okay. You remember I was hoping you caught that. I wrote a newspaper column called "Who Are You People?"
Hey, Mike. In all seriousness, just for a quick sec, if we can step aside from the campaign, that you're here today, and I don't remember the month it was exactly. You called me up one day and said, I think I'm thinking about leaving the Free Press. I think I want to run for city council, and the fact that you that made that leap, I feel like it takes some guts and some courage to walk away from a steady paycheck like that, having no idea what the future is out there, and to put yourself out there, like you said, 1,200 doors. That's not easy knocking on strangers' doors. That is
right.
It's just not easy. But anyway, everything else you've done.
No, that's fun. That's the fun part. Sitting and talking to people on their porch, being invited in their living room to ask them what they care about, to learn a little bit about their lives. That's the best part of this whole thing, the raising money and all the other stuff and trying to figure out where you're supposed to be and who's going to show up for this and that. That's a pain in the ass. But the spending time with people where they live and learn about their lives and thinking about how you might be able to help make it better. I mean, we got a house knocked down for a wonderful old lady who's been staring at this raggedy house for years. And now at this time next year, she's going to own that empty lot next door to the house. It's going to cost her $100. Her grandkids are going to play there. And I truly believe that if we hadn't come along, she'd be staring at that horrible house that she shouldn't have to stare at after putting in her time and making her house look so nice.
Okay, ML, I have a question because you were, and you need to do something with your background noise because it's bothering me, it's distracting me. So listen,
what are me, a Detroiter?
You were, ML, you were one of the first people I met in Detroit even before I moved here because you had one of your famous parties on my house. Yeah, the yard beard thing, which I didn't understand. You had that on my house hunting trip. And so I've been to your home several times, to your house over there on Outer Drive. And you have a nice, neat, it's clean and nice over there. But what do you say to the residents who are concerned about the trash all over in other places? Because I know that area over. I know your district, and it's not all super duper clean.
No, it's like all of Detroit.
Right.
It's not a monolith. There are neighborhoods that you aspire to live in. There are neighborhoods that you aspire to move out of, and then there's most of the neighborhoods which are way better than anybody thinks. When people drive through Detroit, they think, "Oh, I got to keep going fast." It's mainly because our commercial quarters look terrible. But if you go left or right off of Whittier, or left or right off of Meringue, or if you turn off of Gunston, although Gunston looks pretty nice to me. In fact, I was just cutting the lawn there the other day. But
okay,
if you,
listen,
if you go off of those places, there are so many beautiful neighborhoods here where people
and there's
have
so many that are
homes,
not.
And yeah, that's right. But
I'm hanging up on you, ML, because I have 29 minutes, and you do this every week. We're going to check back in with you probably about 5 minutes until it's time to go, because Shawn still is going to talk to me about my books and my cab driving and motherhood and some other stuff. So thanks for letting me take over. I love you.
Mike,
hold on.
I got thrown off my own show.
Mike, wait, no, Mike. Mike, you replaced.
Politics was tough.
Mike, you replaced you with you. How does that feel?
Bye.
Man, I got better looking.
Oh, well, that's true. Well, that's true. Hey, do you want us to check in with you, right? Did you say
5 minutes? Because
I don't know what we're doing. Oneita's just calling the shots here. I mean,
well,
right,
what I want to know too
You're just trying to hang on. You're riding a tiger.
What I want to know too is where you're going to be this evening. So we'll call you back before the show wraps up because I have 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Is there a number for my friends to call in?
No.
Oh,
We're not really a call-in show. I mean, well, we can call Mike back. I mean,
yeah, okay,
Mike
we're gonna call you back. Bye. Click.
We'll call you back.
Hang the phone up.
I ain't going nowhere. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Okay.
All right. Hey, before we get to your book,
that's pretty cool. And you know, it does take guts. In all seriousness,
it does. And
I asked him in a rare moment of humility. Well, we do know he is a humble guy. When I saw him at the Detroit Policy Conference the other week.
Did you just say he was a humble guy?
Yeah,
Joe.
No, because all the rest of that stuff is a front. I mean, like I know ML.
I know it's a front. I'm just playing.
Right.
But did you hear what happened when I asked him a real question? And he made it about the campaign. He did, and that's what he does. But you're right. He's a very, very thoughtful and big-hearted
And that's what I
fella,
wish.
and he
people
always
would
has
see.
been. He hides it with his quick wit and all of that.
Right.
But
And I wish people would see that too, because a lot of people I know don't like him. And like a lot of my friends, like, because I know all kinds of people. Like, I'm not voting for him. I don't like him, because of, the Pulitzer and stuff. But it's like if you give him an honest listen, you'll see. But hey, I mean, a lot of people don't like me either, and I don't care. It's just like,
well, it's
just
the same with
just vote. Just please vote.
It's the same with me. I think out of our 5 listeners, 4 of them don't like me, right, Joe?
No, you should have more people like you. You're a great guy.
No,
Okay,
I don't know,
enough of the
but-
narcissism.
yeah. We
let's
got to
get
move
back
on. Well,
to-
let's do another read, Joe. Can we handle that?
Yeah.
How about we go to? How about this? How about we thank our sponsor, Hall Financial, for being a great supporter of all the shows of the Red Shovel Network. Rates are currently in the 2s. I think that's 2%, even for a math idiot like me. So call today and find out how much a refi could save you every month. Just click the link on our website, which is drewandmike.com. No,
MLSolar.
Wow, I was trying to thank the big boss here. Sorry about that. Say that again,
Thanks,
Joe,
Drew
please.
and Mike.
MLSolarDetroit.com.
So just click on that link to get started, or call 248-308-5000. That's 248-308-5000. And make sure you tell them I sent you. Again, I being Mr. Mike Elrick. The MLS is 146-7435.
Awesome.
We good?
That was great.
Do we need to fix that in post?
No.
Oh,
That was perfect.
how about you just edit me out and it's just Oneita?
No.
Would that be all right?
I mean, it'd be a good show.
I
but
think it'd be.
no,
I think it'd be a great show. All right. Okay.
You all have to have me back.
All right. Back.
on with it.
Back to Oneita. Okay. We said earlier, or maybe I said, how about we get rid of the collective and just own the fucking thing? I said
Own
earlier,
it.
right?
You said
I said you'd written 2 books.
yes.
That's a fact. We don't need to argue. Okay. The
It
first.
is a fact.
I'm going to start with the second because I want to talk about the first. But anyway, so the second was letters from Miss Grundy. Mrs. Grundy, sorry.
Mrs.
Letters from Mrs. Grundy. I'm trying to read through my glasses and I can't really do that. It's about bad customer service.
Yes.
And we'll get to that a little bit later. But first, you wrote a book called Nappy-headed Negro
Syndrome.
Nappy-headed Negro Syndrome. Sorry.
Nappy-headed Negro,
Negro
syndrome.
syndrome.
Yes.
And I want to read from a little bit of a review. I'm sure you've seen this, right?
Right. I
But I
have
like it.
105 5-star reviews and
But
ratings.
this just gives you a little bit, just for a little flavor, a little taste of what this is about. And this is one of the reviews. If there were ever a Renaissance woman, it would be Oneita Jackson. A jack of many trades, Oneita evokes the kind of zeal, I'm sure you guys have been able to tell that already, that is an abiding spirit for equity. It harkens back to self, Jackson's literary loyalty, and her journalistic brawn, integrity, adeptness, and alacrity, which appeals to the very present, and it forges full force within her narrative milieu. There is plenty of conflict, plenty of resolution between the pages of Nappy-headed Negro Syndrome. So that's just one of the hundreds of reviews you're talking about, right?
Oh, that's from Eddie Cooper. He lives in L.A. He's a Detroiter. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. No,
Those are a lot of big words to talk about a small book with a lot of substance in it.
Right.
So how did this? Tell us what the book is about, and sort of how it came to be.
Okay, Nappy-headed
In 30
Negro
seconds.
Syndrome is
No, I'm
about.
kidding.
Hey, listen, I'm an editor.
No,
I can
I'm
do it in
kidding.
15.
I'm kidding, I'm
Look,
kidding,
It's
I'm kidding.
about identity, judgment, and assumptions. That's 3 seconds. Now, so it's about identity, judgment, and assumptions. There's a lot of unconscious bias and microaggressions in the book. And so there are 3 things that I define as a syndrome. When someone comes to a conclusion about you and they don't know anything about you, this constant communication of the idea that you are outside of the context to which someone thinks you belong, and this idea that you are not exactly where you are supposed to be. And we all have syndromes. I just happen to call mine nappy because there's an inside joke. Very quickly, my mother has curly hair and I have nappy hair. I don't look anything like my mother. So it's an inside joke to me only. But nappy-headed, you'll find that these 2 words together in the English language are much more offensive than that N-word that people like to be offended by. And I'm not offended by either of them, or any of them rather. But that's what it's about. So Nappy-headed Negro Syndrome, there was a preview edition, which was this tiny, and then there's the complete edition. The preview edition came out in 2015, and this one came out in 2017. It was written during the time I left the Free Press. During the time that I was a cab driver, and it came out of my not being able to organize my cab writing because I had this much writing and I mean, volumes and volumes. But what I did, I decided to curate these experiences rather that struck me as odd or weird or strange. And I just made a list of these experiences and I wrote them down. It became part one of the complete edition of the book.
Okay, I'd like you to maybe share a couple of anecdotes out of the book. But before you do that, I just want to tell the listeners that this isn't really a conventional book, and there's not a traditional narrative. It's not. I mean, it is sort of a memoir in a way, but it's the way you put it together. Little anecdotes. They're sections that read like poetry. I felt like I was at a poetry slam for part of it. Right? It's old sort of traditional African American storytelling. Themes that are used, or not themes, but
yeah, definitely
mechanisms.
Things.
How about that?
Yes.
And it's a mix. It's almost like a mixed media, but it's all words,
right?
And there's a pop and a power that comes from the structure.
Thank you.
So, but before we get,
oh no, you were a literary genius.
I'm not a genius at all. I just like the structure of it. But let's talk about share a couple of things that are in the book, if you don't mind.
Okay, so most of the book, I like to tell my white friends, allow yourself to laugh because most of the offenders in the book are white. And when you read the reviews, you can easily discern who's a white reader and a non-white reader.
Real quickly,
right.
do you think it's hard for white folks to laugh right now?
It is
if they're sitting across or in the same space
they are
with somebody who's
because
black.
the truth is uncomfortable. Well, I mean, I don't know about somebody in general, but me, I'm comfortable everywhere I go. But it seems people like to be offended and they aren't sure how to express their humanity. It's just like, right, I see an individual. Hey, how you doing? That's really all it is, right? But a lot of people are not. I think the problem is a lot of us are not comfortable with who we are. Therefore, if you're not comfortable with yourself, how can you be comfortable with anyone else, right? So in my book, and I have friends, I have Mexican friends, Puerto Rican friends, French friends, people in New York. I have people in other countries. I have white friends. I have stupid friends. Well, my friends aren't stupid, but I know people who are stupid, but everyone I know is a genius and everyone I know is beautiful. All people I know. And it's not really my problem if you don't know that. So what I tell people, enjoy the book, but receive the truth because it's nonfiction, right? So, for example, what I found is the white people, they're uncomfortable laughing, but I'm like, go ahead and laugh. But it's just to raise the consciousness of people. Just read the book. You don't ever have to talk about race, but if you read my book, you'll just read the story. So I'll just go through some of these quickly. The first piece is called Learning a Wing or Two. And the offender in this piece is actually a black woman. And it's as simple as, I asked her how much a chicken wing was, and she told me they didn't take the EBT card. That's the first story. Obviously, I don't write it that way.
You want to explain to our listeners maybe
what an EBT card is? This
maybe some don't know.
The equivalent or tantamount to food stamps, if you all remember what food stamps were. We have what's called EBT bridge cards. So instead of answering my question, the woman looks at me, and that's the
and
only
assumed
thing.
You were on food stamps.
This is the only thing, the only thread in the book is that I'm brown and how people react to me. I don't draw any conclusions for the reader. I just tell you the story and you figure it out, right? So I asked how much is a chicken wing and she said, we don't take that. So now this has happened to me again when I was at the grocery store. So now I've elevated my consciousness to ask people, why did you ask me that? Like there's one where I'm at the movie theater and the cashier is a black woman and I tell her I want 2 tickets to see the movie and she goes, that's an Indian movie. And I simply say, 2 tickets to Queen, please. The thing is, it's also a manners book. I mean, there's so many layers in my book. I have friends that tell me they'll read it from time to time and see something different. So in that case, all she had to do was her job. I wouldn't have 50% of this book if people who worked in service did what they give me 2 tickets. And guess what?
Like, why do you want to go see that? It's a white movie, basically.
It was Indian.
Oh, I thought you said it was the Queen. I read in the book it was the Queen.
No, see, you got to read it again. Every word you have to look at. What happens?
Did I not see the Queen?
So there's a book. This movie was called Queen.
Oh, Queen. Sorry.
Queen is an Indian movie.
I added
there's a movie
in there. My
bad. You did what my other white friend Mike did. there's a movie called The Queen with Helen Mirren.
Yes.
This was Queen. This is an Indian, like Bollywood movie.
Right.
So there's that. Then there's a piece called The MF with the Shoes, where I'm driving a gentleman to the airport. He had on nice shoes. I said, "What kind of shoes are you wearing?" And he said, "They're very expensive." Okay.
So you wouldn't know or be interested.
He had nice shoes. I just asked him for a name. Why did he eliminate? Why couldn't he just tell me the name of the shoe, right?
Because he didn't see you on the same level, right?
Right. So what becomes apparent, because people read the book and they have to go back because there's a very slow build. It's like, it's cute in the beginning, right? But it's like, wait a minute, I have to go back and read that. Then there is Job Search for Tomorrow, where I'm at Neiman Marcus looking for my friend Muffy. And the woman asks me if I'm applying for a job. And I dressed the way I am now, sneakers, short shorts, and a T-shirt. I don't know who goes to Neiman Marcus dressed that way. So those are some of the things in the first part of the book. The second part of the book is reactions to the first part, where people ask me, how are you writing a book called Nappy-headed Negro Syndrome and you wear a perm, and some other things. But then part 3 of the book is where I introduce letters from Detroit Free Press readers. And the interstitial there is, where have all the racists gone? So what's interesting here is a lot of my progressive and liberal white friends, they would never think that they're racist because they don't say the N-word, or they believe, in equality for all people, but yet they communicate to me constantly that they're racist. And I'm like, it's okay to be a racist. You just have to know you're a racist, and don't bother me. Do not bother me. But they don't even acknowledge that they are racist. So in the third section,
and do you have a example or two of that?
Of my friends? Okay, so here's one.
Without names, we don't want to.
Without names, I'll just say this. This book was written about strangers, but I was in the Free Press newsroom one time, and I was walking up the stairs, and some woman who was a white woman was walking behind me, and she said, "Don't you look nice in your Diane von Furstenberg dress?" Right?
With the like.
With a like. Right. So we're not analyzing that. What we are analyzing is when I said, "Don't I look nice in my Diane von Furstenberg dress?" She reached in my dress to look at the label.
So the assumption was, how could you ever afford that?
I don't know. So here's the thing. Shawn, you worked in the newsroom. I worked in the newsroom.
No, I would never grab somebody's. No, of course not.
We worked in the newsroom. I was an editor. You were a reporter. Okay, we worked in the newsroom. You don't need to be wondering how I'm affording anything, because I work in a newsroom. I make a lot of money. But it's not. The thing is, she felt it was okay to do that.
Yeah, as if you were a prop. Right?
Yeah, but it's like, first of all, you diminish me in your eyes with the like, right? Why couldn't she just say you look cute and leave it at that?
Or nice dress.
Nice dress, right? But that like tells you that someone's need to show your inferiority, right? And this has happened a lot. Another person in the media, another white woman, had lunch with me and asked me, "Do you really wear all those expensive clothes you write about in your books?" That's some racist shit, okay? Because you think that I'm inferior. Why are you I don't give a fuck what you're wearing, lady, at all, right? So, but she felt, this is the thing. You think it's okay to ask me that. This is a problem. It's not okay, right? So I have countless examples, but I'm working on a book. The new project is called Clarified Butter. And Clarified Butter, this is people that I do know. I won't name any names because I like to spare people, but let me get something from the book, from the section, the readers. Let's see.
You want to hold that thought for just a second?
I will hold that thought.
Hold that thought because before we
because we only have 11 minutes.
Well, we can go over a couple of minutes, and we got to play a song that's in honor of you and Mike. I'm trying to keep everybody happy here, and I want to finish this up with just how we can kind of how we can kind of. Okay, over here, Oneita. Over here.
I'm with you.
Yeah, there we go. No, I want to talk a little bit of how we can talk, right?
How we talk is to share our stories.
Yeah, and let's get to that in a second. But you said clarified butter. It made me think of the butchery, Joe.
Yes.
I mean, I assume they probably use clarified butter. All I know is the butchery's an old sponsor
Butchers
now.
don't use clarified butter.
No.
They do not.
But they cook, and clarified
Okay.
butter's right.
All right.
Okay.
I'll let
You mentioned the
I
Indian movie
clarify my
earlier. They
own
like to
butter.
clarify.
Okay, go ahead.
They
Go ahead.
clarify butter anyway. Anyway, they're back with us, and they were back in the studio right last week, Joe, and they brought all sorts of
He sent you home
Dave-
with like a bunch of burgers.
a bunch of these. It was ground up brisket and bacon, and I think short rib in there, and got smoked them, and they got the nice sear on the cast iron. Oh yeah, they were delicious. In any case, so here's the read for the butcher. He wants to keep it simple, right? They need folks. They want to be able to pass out those great goodies out there, and they need a little more help doing it. So they are now hiring, and you can go to the butcherysl.com. You can call. It's 248-682-COWS or 2697. They're closed Mondays and Thursdays. As Dave says, this is sweet and simple. They have prime meats, and you can go up there and get beautiful butchery. I don't know what, steaks, chicken, all that good stuff, right, Joe? Or if you want to go work there and help them out, again, butcherysl.com, 248-682-2697. There we go. We can vouch for them, can't we?
Oh, they got great meat.
Oh, it's
Why
delicious.
aren't they here today? I would like a burger. I
Well,
eat
come
red
back.
meat.
They'll be back.
Okay.
If Dave hears this, maybe he'll bring in one of those burgers. I'm telling you.
Okay, I'll wait around.
Okay.
Dave?
Okay. All right. Hey, we're going to get to the song here in a second for the Room 7609, which is, Mike's thing, and we argue about it every week about what's new wave and what's not.
7609.
I don't know. It's all good. But real quickly, your clarified butter.
I'm working a nonfiction book. More. This might be more commentary and essays instead of just the stories, because I would need to make it plain, clarify the issue of manners, race, what's okay, what's not okay.
Not lifting somebody's dress up.
Right.
I mean,
she didn't lift my dress up. She looked in the label.
Or
Even when
opened
I
it.
worked
Sorry about that.
Yeah, even when I worked at Grey Ghost and I had on my Burberry blazer, 4 different white broads in one evening told me they liked my blazer. It looked like Burberry, which is Burberry, of course.
So Anita, for us, and by us I mean white folks, I mean a lot of this has to be common sense, right? And it's not fair.
It is manners.
It is, and you have to sort of stop and think, and it's not black folks' job to teach white folks. We have to figure this out.
Well, if
and
you
just
people
stop and think and use some common sense. Having said that, though,
yes, sir.
I do think a lot. You used the word awkward earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and I do think a lot of people are nervous or downright scared or intimidated, and don't know how to talk. And I remember
Why? Why?
Well,
Why?
look-
Why are you scared to talk to another human? It's like the stupidest stuff I ever
well, I
heard.
know it is, and it's
Just
easy.
because you don't know any black people, I mean, like it just.
But
just
no,
so
and I
stupid.
think that's everything. And you're right. I remember in 2016 at the Republican convention. I want to say it was 2016. So
Well,
Trump.
okay, look.
So wait.
manners.
So Trump was running. The Daily Show or some show like that had sent a correspondent there, and they were having fun and all that. And and the correspondent was black.
Mhm.
I want to say it was a woman, and a white woman walked up to her, almost in tears, and said, "Please, help me. I don't know how to talk." And she was literally breaking down that she didn't know how to have like a simple, basic conversation. And and she ain't alone, right?
Okay, so listen.
And
I'll come
I don't know
back.
if you've ever had that experience or
No,
not.
let me tell you why I'm laughing.
White tears.
White fragility, right?
Exactly.
Listen.
Anyway.
The reason I'm laughing is my son, after George Floyd, and maybe I'm trying to think, it was a sweet spot where you could still go out. My son lives in Cincinnati, and I don't know if you could be masked or whatever, but my son was in a restaurant in Cincinnati, and he called me. He's like, Mom, this white man just came up to me, and he put his shoulders on me. I was in the bathroom, and he's just like, I'm sorry, sir. And we fell out laughing.
I've read story after story after story of that
He
happening.
just started. It's like, yo, what kind of people do you not know? It's just people are people. Good morning requires what? Good morning. In Detroit, it's what up, though? Or you all right? How you doing? I mean, it's just like, what kind of humans have you been exposed to in your life?
and it's all about experience. And I've talked a lot about, because I spent a lot of my life in the South, and
it's Southern hospitality. But if you have good
but
manners.
but white and black folks shared things a little differently in the South than they do up here. And I know that comes to the surprise of a lot of white progressives up north who who don't understand that when you break bread together, now, they don't. Black and white folks don't pray together in the South. That's still segregated, right? But by and large, but you eat together down there, and they share.
All I know is
in a different way.
humans. Listen, let me tell you something. I wash my hands before I eat. Okay, I've babysat little white kids. Just people are people. So if well, let me just tell you this. Let me back up. I have a lot of black friends who don't have friends that are other. Like, because I'm always talking about, I mean, you know me. You look on my Facebook page, I have the United Nations of friendship. But sometimes when I'm talking, I'll just be like, yo, my friend, period. And it's like, oh, I didn't know your friend was white. It's like, you don't have any white friends? So I have black friends who do not have other. And I don't know where it was. And it might be an art thing because artists, which I am too, right? Artists just receive the art, musicians, writers, painters.
Well, they get out. You get out in the world in a different way, for sure.
Get out in the world.
Well, what about your black friends who don't have any white friends? Do you see similar?
I just ask them. I'm just like, yo, how you ain't got no black? How you ain't got? This is how it is communicated. Not why don't you have any? Like, how you ain't got no white friends? Like, I don't understand that. But I realize my world because they just don't. And I think if I had not worked in a newsroom because I went to all black schools growing up, but I still had a few white friends. But in Washington, D.C., I had like one white friend or some people. I had colleagues that I worked with, but that wasn't my circle. But when I come here, I've been here 20 years, especially as a cab driver. I mean, I have friends all over the world now because they sat in my cab. So it's just, I don't know, it's just interesting. It's where you go and what you're open to.
No,
right?
That's so true. But do you see similar assumptions from some of your black friends that don't have any white friends?
Oh, hell yeah.
About white people?
Oh, hell yeah.
That aren't necessarily.
Right. Because sometimes I'll tell, someone, I'm like, yo, that's just people. That has nothing to do with white people. Like, my whole thing is there are only two kinds of people in the world. Cool people and not cool people. That's it, right? There's stupid people and that's it. This is how my friends are.
And people, and I don't like to say stupid people. I mean,
I do because there are a lot of very stupid.
But that's not to me, though. You know what? I'm going to be real. That's not their fault.
Well, it is their fault.
It's like it's not my fault that I don't understand math the way Einstein did. Right? That's not my fault.
No, it is your fault if you are not
ignorant. Now that's different.
Listen,
because you can go teach yourself. But if you can't process information in a certain way, that ain't your fault. That's your brain. That's your brain wiring, right? No.
Listen. We have maybe you're right on that, but we live in the information age and you can't be stupid in 2021. You just can't. You cannot be ignorant and willfully ignorant because all the information is at your thumbs. And so the problem becomes like, for me, my son is 27 years old and he's black and we've never had a conversation about race, the idea purportedly about race because we don't have to. From the time, you know what, this is a good time while we only have a few minutes left to tell you. My son is 27 now, and he lives in Cincinnati.
We have more than a few minutes, by the way.
Okay. When he was a kid, my boyfriend's asking for the link to the radio show right now. When he was a kid.
Focus.
I'm focusing. When my son was a kid, I used to talk to him about people. And the first thing I said was, hey, Jamie, there are all kinds of people in the world. And then I went through, some people have hair like your grandmother. Some people have hair like me. And I went through hair. I went through arms. Some people don't have any legs. Some people speak with an accent. Some people's hair is gray. Some people ride. But I went through the whole people, right? As he was older, right, I started adding more to it. But let me tell you two things. One, we used to watch the Olympics together, the Parade of Nations, because I wanted him to see what people look like in the world. And this was a part of his education for me. And guess what? The Washington Post, probably when he was 8, 9, 10 in that area, they used to have something called the Kids Post in the back page of like the style section, I believe. And they had this same thing. I don't know why people are calling me on my radio. They had the same thing. Watch the Parade of Nations with the Olympics with your children so they can see what nations, people throughout the world look like. So that's one thing. Now, I'll tell you, when I knew I had done a good job, my son and I stepped out of the elevator at the Martin Luther King Library in Washington, D.C. You listening?
I am.
Mm-hmm. And there was a man who's hydrocephalic. I've never seen
Right.
a hydrocephalic man in my life. So as the elevator doors were opening, we could see people in the background gasping as this man walked by. And I'm holding my son's hand. He's about 4. And we walk off the elevator and I say, hello. And my son says, hello. That was it. There was no blinking. There was no, ogling. I think that's the word. I'm not sure.
So even at 4, he knew how to react.
Right, because it's just son. There are all kinds of people in the
No,
world.
and that's the
they're
thing.
different and they're beautiful.
And-
People are the same and
No,
different. That's
it's the
been the
thing.
message from the beginning.
I've been
of his
trying to
life.
steer my column that way in the last year or so. And I'm sure some readers wouldn't agree, because I do have to have an opinion as a columnist, obviously, and have something to say. But I think we have a whole hell of a lot more in common as people than we don't. We all want
We
more or less
do.
the same
Now,
stuff, don't we?
Is my mic on? Oh, we
Yeah.
do. So here's the thing, because
And it's easy to forget that.
after you wrote that column is it Vince?
Yeah.
And remember I wrote you and I'm like, you need to read my book because you don't need to talk about black this, white this, Asian this, Chinese this, black. Because I had a problem with your column. I'm like, he got it all wrong. But now we're talking and I'll tell you what you got all wrong because you don't always have to focus on the race stuff. Just tell the stories, really. Then because when you start talking about these stories and I tell you my story and you tell me your story, it's like, oh, okay. We're sharing stories with an understanding because I did a lecture last year before the pandemic at Oakland, some kind of college, Oakland Community, I think. My friend Barbie Hogue is a math teacher, professor there, and she invited me. My topic was how to talk about race. Don't. And it was explosive because you just share stories.
But you're still, right, you do.
it will
But
get in
there's
there,
still a
but
context, and you're still talking
there's
about
a-
it.
right,
And what I
but it's
wrote
not
about
like,
Vince.
Today we're talking
what-
about race.
But what I wrote about Vince, who grew up in Alabama, and it was a story about Vince and his closest friend as a child.
It was a nice story too.
Who was white. He wanted to come to me to say, "Hey, look, this is how it can be.
Right,
This is how it can be."
right.
And then I've heard he's taken some criticism. I've heard from other black folks who think he's a certain way, right?
Because they're
no,
making assumptions about
that's
him.
exactly
you don't know
right.
anything about. You don't know shit
Like
about
he's
me.
too friendly with white folks. I've actually heard that.
That's the stupidest. Because these are ignorant people. These are tiny minded.
But you know what I'm talking about.
I do. My family's from Alabama. Yo, let me tell you, we go to Alabama. Everybody is like, "Hey,
No, it's true.
What? The iced tea is sweet. The food is good. Oh my God, I gotta tell you the story.
That's what I was trying to say earlier about the
Yeah.
South. There's a
But
connection
it
there.
is Southern hospitality and manners. And if we just remember in general to have better manners, that's the thing. I write etiquette books because you don't always have to rip somebody apart. Just where are your manners? And I always tell people, I think if Donald Trump had better manners, he would have won. Because when he ran the first time, I told my girlfriend, she was like, oh, Hillary's going to win in the morning. She's an economist in Washington, D.C. at the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And I said, you people, there I go again. I said, you people are going to be very surprised when you wake up in the morning and Donald J. Trump is the president of the United States. And people were shocked. So that shock tells me you don't know anything about the United States at all.
Yeah, when he won, Vince. Speaking of Vince Ellis, real quick, he called me up. We were on the phone. And he said, "Welcome to the party," meaning white people.
Yeah,
right? White progressive people. Right?
Yeah. And so then when you read
like this is, and I don't want to get off on a political thing here, but you're right. But your point about manners and getting back to that, and if he had, the thing about Trump, it was tricky is because a lot of people liked him for not having manners, right?
Yeah, but that's just.
But he might have appealed to a slightly broader swath in the middle if he had a few more manners.
If he had better manners,
so
right?
no, that's a good point. In any case, let's.
I want to talk about my racist readers.
Well, no, what's that?
I want to talk about my letters, my racist readers.
Okay, but I need to do a quick read here.
You do your quick read.
Quick
It's
read. We'll
almost
get
time
back
for us
to that.
Get off, isn't
do
it?
we need to play the song today, Joe?
What song is it? And then we have to call ML back.
No, yeah, we do. Oh, we still got to do that. We might have to. We
Play the
can't.
song.
We can't skip rooms 761. You want to read after or before the song?
Do the read because.
Wait. You want to read? Sorry, Oneita.
Let's do it after.
Okay.
See you again.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
Okay, Joe and Anita. This
cool.
is definitely new wave. The selection I have for you here today, it's not American New Wave, it's British New Wave. So I hope that keeps Mike happy. However, this is was a sort of a hit, so he probably won't like that. But you know what? He's not here, and we're going to do what we want today, right?
I agree.
So here's Depeche Mode's Policy of Truth in honor of Anita.
You had something to hide. Should have hidden it, shouldn't you? Now you're not satisfied with what you're being put through. It's just time to pay the price, not listening to advice, deciding in your youth on the policy of truth. Things could be so different now. It used to be so civilized. You will always wonder how it could have been if you'd only lied. It's too late to change events. It's time to face the consequence for delivering the proof in the policy of truth. Never again is what you swore the time before. Never again is what you swore the time before. Now you're standing there tongue-tied. You better look your lesson well. Hide what you have to hide, and tell what you have to tell. You'll see your problems multiply if you continually decide to faithfully pursue the policy of truth. Never again is what you swore the time before. Never again is what you swore the time before.
So that was Policy of Truth, because I heard the word truth, and I associated it with Anita. By the way, is our guest back? Is he out there? Did we get him on the line or no? Are you there, Mikey?
I'm here. Sorry.
Get your life, ML. Get your life.
That was Depeche Mode's Policy of Truth in honor of Oneita, who is a truth. You too, Mike, because you're a truth meister. Oneita is too. So
I love that American New Wave.
No, I think Depeche Mode is British, but that's okay.
Oh.
I don't know. In any case, can you give us a quick wrap up of how it's going and where you going? Oneita and I wanted to know where you were going to be tonight, and what you're going to be doing. Are you going to be eating more pizza?
So we're going to hit some more polling places. Actually, we just finished. I just finished the Detroit. It was outstanding. I have to take you here. But, we're going to hit some more polling places. meet some more folks. Just met a family who came in to get some good food, and they're heading out. And we will then, work the polls and check in with our volunteers until the end of the day. We just put together a new document that we've been sharing with people on how to put their claims in for the flood. Everybody listening, you need to get your claim in by August 9th or you're going to miss out on it. And one thing, this was a great story written by Christine McDonald in the Free Press. FEMA almost automatically denies your claim, and you have to appeal up to 3 times before you can get some money from them. And sometimes you can appeal the amount of money they say they're going to give to you and get more of it. So,
okay,
so check
thanks,
that out
Emil.
in the Free
That's
Press.
useful information because most of my friends are homeowners. I think I might be the only renter, maybe 2 people. I'll let my friends know because that's been a concern on the campaign trail.
Well, renters are eligible too, and you should put your claim in with Detroit Water and Sewerage, with Great Lakes Water, and with FEMA.
Okay,
So
I'll let people
get that
know.
money.
And where are you going to be this evening when the polls close and you're watching results? Do you have a headquarters where people are going to come? Where is that?
Yeah.
Tell the
we
people.
are going to be at. The line was breaking up there. We got a bad connection there.
That's okay. Where are you going to be, bud?
I want to invite everybody to join me at.
Oh, you're real funny. Okay.
Oh, hey, got another call coming in there.
Yeah. Okay, Emil, we get it. In private, you look, man up. Just say it. I'm going to be watching it in private.
I think we're probably going to be at the Caju Cafe.
Oh, so you're not going to be at the top of the Rents Inn, looking down on the rest of us.
No, I'm
do you
looking
think
up
or do you
at
know?
my fellow,
Listen, do you think or do you know?
As a copy editor, your precision with words continues to be admirable.
She switched usual to normal earlier at the beginning of the show.
Normal to usual.
Normal to usual. Sorry, and now she switched it again. Yeah, no, she was right. She was always right.
I will be there. I will be at the Caju Cafe.
Okay,
we are
you heard
hoping
it
that
here.
the results come in.
All right, you heard it here, folks. ML is going to be at the Caju Cafe at 8, and I'm going to probably be watching the Olympics. I'll wake up in the morning as I did when Donald Trump was the president. I'm just going to wake up and see what happens.
Are you comparing Mike to Donald Trump? Hey,
Yeah,
listen.
I'd say, hey, let's roll that one back.
Yeah. We'll get that out in post.
No, we won't.
Listen, brother. Good
That's
luck.
what I always say, and that's what Mark always says.
Yeah, right. Good luck. Enjoy yourself tonight. Enjoy the moment, no matter what happens. Right.
Hey, you know what? This has been an incredible life experience. I met a lot of people. I've always loved and been upbeat about Detroit, and seen some things here that give me more hope than I ever had before. So, and I was very hopeful before. So, yeah, this has been great. If it ends today, so be it. The people have spoken. I won't be storming anything, but I hope we live to fight again. And I know Oneita, whether she prevails in her writing campaign or not, will continue to be fighting to make a positive change.
That's right.
And if she's not still on the ballot and I'm still on the ballot, I think she'll be giving me some advice. And if I don't take it, then my involvement with buses I'll be underneath one.
That's right. Okay. Thanks, ML. Thanks for
Mike.
having me.
We'll see you soon.
All right,
and
thank you, everybody.
enjoy yourself tonight. All right, bud. Ciao. Okay, is he gone? Or is he just going to torture us with the background noise? Hey, all right, before we shoot, I think we waited a little bit too long here, Joe, but we'll get this in. It's last is not always least, right, Oneita?
That's right.
If you're if you're like me and you know almost nothing about nothing or nothing about everything, right? How does that go? You're the copy editor. You're supposed to fix that. And you need, say, a little bit of understanding of how the markets work, maybe how to invest a little bit of your savings. You've worked hard. You save a little money. Luke Nowacki, I think, can help out with that. How about this, Joe? Overreaction is not the strategy for the long-term investor. No. Neither is burying your head in the sand. That's a cliche, I think, but that's okay. Anita will allow it. And hoping it all turns out for the best. Call my friend Luke Nowacki at Pinnacle Wealth, 248-663-4748 for rational financial advice. You know, you're trying to save a little bit more, navigating the coronavirus. Yes, it's still out there. There are variants out there. It's, we're a lot better in that regard, but, who knows? What does this mean now and 6 months from now? 6 years? Stocks? Bonds? Do you move your 401k, your college savings plan? Is your company in the right investments? Is your pension funds meeting its projected return? Get advice. Get a strategy. Call Luke Nowacki at Pinnacle Wealth, 248-663-4748, and he will help out in every way he can.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates, Inc., member FINRA-SIPC. Royal Alliance Associates, Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Royal Alliance Associates, Inc.
We good there?
Yeah, we're good. He'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
That's all right. You can. He'll add that in post. They're these little, musical.
I know what post is. Mm-hmm.
Well, I know you know what post is. It's just I don't know. In any case, all right, Joe. How about we get? Okay. Do you have anything before we wrap this up? You said you had one more thing you want to talk about.
I don't remember, but
you don't remember?
I'm good. Oneita Jackson.
Will you come back again and join us?
Of course.
It's been a. It's
like
been
old
fun.
times in the free press, man. I love you, man. Thank you so much.
And by the way, I just want our listeners, if there are any still with us, well, they probably should be for Oneita. She used to march over from the copy desk, and she was not your regular copy editor. I mean, she was great and tough, but she just, as you can hear and you've heard for the last hour, so all this energy and charisma. And, everybody else, the copy desk would kind of sit there quietly, right? It attracts a certain kind of personality, sort of somewhat subdued. You focus in, grammar is like math in a way, right? And it takes a tremendous amount of focus. But Oneita would be like,
it's more than grammar. The copy editor challenges the essence and truth of a copy.
No, for sure.
Okay, just because people think
I don't want to
to
diminish
copies.
it. Copy editors are critical.
Yeah,
they're critical. And at the free press,
crucial. Not critical, crucial.
Well, I would say
critical.
I would say
crucial
both.
Yet critical.
I would say both.
All right.
But that's okay.
It's a special skill set that most people don't have. I used to say anybody can be a reporter, but you can't be a copy editor.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Anybody can be a reporter. Not everybody can be a writer. Not everybody can be a writer, though. There's a difference.
Yes, sir. And you are one of the best writers. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not. Mike is
That's no B. What's Charlie's thing called? No BS.
No BS. Mike is a better reporter. In any case. It was a pleasure working for.
No, wait, I used to come over to the copy desk and.
Oh yeah, and just start singing, right? Sometimes, or just the sunshine would be coming out, and usually there was a big smile. So you're thinking, okay, she liked it, but then she would sort of very gently, believe it or not, as much as you've heard today, she was actually quite subtle. Even it was like crushing up aspirin and mixing it with grape jelly, and then she'd just kind of come around and slip that down and your copy was fixed, and your pride wasn't really that wounded.
Except the people I didn't like. I was polite. He'll tell you too. Like if I didn't like you, I would be so polite. But if I would give you a tough time if you were great. Like
right, like
Windsor
a good coach.
One of the best. Windsor, Schaefer. Well, Elrick used to get on my nerves.
Like a good old school coach.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe, how do we donate? How do we
MLSolveDetroit.com. There's a donate button up on top. If you want to go ML for Detroit, and otherwise merchandise on DrewandMikeStore.com. All the ML swag, and that's about it.
ML has swag. Well,
he does have
no
hoodies. We gotta get Anita a little bit of the swag.
Well,
you can subscribe, share, rate, love the show. Right? I don't think we have any feedback today. The feedback, of course, was Mike's out on the trail. I mean, we'll get to some of that next week. Program notes, odds and ends. This is Anita. This is the election day. We don't need
vote.
Go vote. Those are the odds and ends.
Yeah, vote.
Right.
Thank you. And it takes every kind of people.
That's right. We'll leave you with that, and then also to say the Red Shovel Network makes this possible. Listen whenever you can to Charlie LaDuff's No BS News Hour, and of course every day the Drew and Mike podcast. Thanks for letting us all be here.
Thanks, Drew and Mike.
It's fun to ride your coattails, although Mike wouldn't probably like that any much. In any case, thanks again, Anita.
Thank
you, Joe.
Thank you,
Cyrus, take us out.
Can you dig that?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Listen again next week, same time, same station to Let's Do It.
The Red Shovel Network.
Broadcasting System.